look at the point. Whenever the rule is met, I want to send a email notification to the customer. Let us say when a payment is made, send the email alert to the customer. When a new customer is created, send an email. When a new complaint is raised, send an email. So when you want some email has to be sent based on the condition, first we need to see how to create email template. Because every time I want to send an email, I cannot draft the body of the mail. Every time I want to send an email, I cannot draft the body of the mail. So what I want to do, I was supposed to create email template. The fixed, like when you receive a mail, okay, your monthly transaction, you made a, okay, the following amount is spent on your card. Now the message body is going to be fixed. Only the data in that will be changing. Your name, your card number, your amount will be changing. Rest of the mail will be the same. So generally when you go with automated mails, the template is going to be fixed. So how do you generate fixed email template? How do you generate fixed email template? So let us see this. Setup, administer, communication template. So where was the communication? Let's say domain communication template. Then we have classic email template, new template. So look at the format we have, text. Available for use. So we have received payment of rupees. So look at the point. Which object is this? Payment object. Go to the payment object. Amount through online or cash on which date. What I'm using, I'm including the date. Now in the template, I was creating a body. In the body, I was including the data. Which data is this? Data from the record. On whichever the record workflow rule is running, that record data we are embedding here. On whichever the record workflow rule is running, the record data we are embedding here. On. So the fields what I included here, they are called merge fields. We are merging the data from the record in the email template. We are merging the data from the record on which workflow rule is running. That record data is embedded in the email template. the record on which the workflow rule is running, that record data is embedded in the email template. So that's called merge fields. We are merging the data of the record. We are merging the data of the record on which the workflow rule is running. I repeat, we are merging the data of the record on which workflow rule is running. This is how we got it. Now again, how do you create an email template? Setup, administer, communication templates, classic email template, new template. I told custom without letterhead. Then now we are giving it. We have received your inquiry. You received your inquiry with the following. With the following details. B stands for bold. I stands for italic. Bold, italic. Now which object is this? Go to the next line. So we got it. So I have given this email template. Have a preview. This is how we got. So here what I am doing, we are giving the split. BR stands for right. Preview the. Go to your dear customer. We have received your inquiry. Last name, first name, phone, email. Transaction sales team. This is how we created. Now I want to give next. It's only templates. We just created a templates. Now when these templates will be sent, when these templates are sent on an object, whenever a condition is met, we want to perform a email template. Now look at this. Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals. What we got here? Email alerts. New email alert. Again I repeat, setup, build, create workflows and approvals, email alerts. New email alert. Lead notification. Choose the object. Choose the template what you want to send. And the lead object. To whom you want to send this? I told email field. Whatever the email ID I gave in the lead record, in the email address, whatever the email I gave, to that email address we want to send it. If you want to send to anyone else, you can select to a particular group, to a particular creator, you can select it. Apart from this group, to anyone else you want to send, keep their email address here. We can choose any one of these fields, okay, to a public group or a role and subordinate, you select whomever you want. Apart from this group, if you want to send to anyone else, give their email address. Up to how many we can give? This is email alert action. Now I am designing a workflow rule. I only created an email alert action. Setup, build, create workflow rule. Then I am trying to create a rule on lead, new lead, lead, next, new lead. Whenever a new lead is created, with lead city equals Hyderabad, then I am giving where lead industry equals I told 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Then perform the action. What is the action we got here? Okay, look at the point. Email alert. Already I have created one alert, right? I don't want to create. So what I'm doing, select existing action. First already I created an email alert. Choose the existing action. What type of existing action? Either I can create a new action here. I can choose one of the existing action which already created. Choose the email notification. Done. Lead, new lead, student, they told. Industry, banking. Then email address I am giving here. When a new lead is created with the lead industry equal to banking or city equal to Hyderabad, any one condition, action what we have is email alert. What is that email alert? It will send email notification when the condition is met. I will do one more action. Look at the point. New rule, object, payment. Next. Premium payment. Whenever the premium payment is made with amount greater than or equals to 0, then perform the action. What is the action we have? Email. Now I have not created a payment alert, only I have created a payment template. Okay, then I am giving new email alert. Template, payment alert. To whom you want to send? The payment object. Do you have any email field here? I don't have any email field, right? So I want to send a alert to owner of the record. So send the email alert to case theme owner. Who is the owner? Whoever is the owner of the customer is the owner of the payment. Why? Master detail. What is the master detail? Whoever is the owner of the master, he is the owner of the customer. That is the reason I got here. Customer owner. When I told owner, we are not getting payment owner. We are getting customer owner. Done. Activate. Now, what is the email ID I gave? Satish Malan notes. Online. Loan. What was that? Value does not exist or does not match the filter condition. Field update action. Now look at the point. My requirement is I'm going to keep one field called status. My requirement is whenever you submit a record, whenever a new loan record is created, automatically status should be pending. The moment you create a new record, automatically loan status should be pending. So how I am going to achieve this? Look at the point. Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals, workflows. Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals, workflows. New rule. Which object is that? Loan object. On the loan object, I want to create new loan. Whenever a new loan is created with type equals to education or housing, make an action. What is the action here? What do you want to update? Look at this. Loan we are able to update customer. So whenever we are writing a workflow rule on a record on an object, we can update the fields of that particular object, and also we can update its master record fields. Whenever I am writing a workflow rule on an object, whenever I am writing a workflow rule on an object, I can update the values of record, or else I can update the values of its master record. Now, who is the master to the loan? Customer. So I told loan status equal to. So whenever a new loan is created, automatically update the status equal to loan new. So what was that? Status is. Are you getting my point? Automatically status is pending. Now whenever the record is created, automatically set the value of the field. Automatically set the value. We are modifying the value of a record. We are modifying the value of a record. Whenever the condition is met, modify the value of a record. This is what I told. Am I clear with this? Now, similarly, let us take an example here. Whenever a new payment is made in the customer object, I have one field here. What is the field? Number of loans. Right. Now, what is my requirement? Whenever workflow rule is defined on the payment object, setup so what is the rule? Setup, build, create workflow rules. Now new workflow rule, which object? Payment object. Payment object. Whenever a new payment is created with amount greater than 0, whenever a new payment is made with amount greater than 0, perform an action. What is the action here? Field update action. What is that? Customer update. Look at this. I can update my records or my payment records. So we made a mistake here. What was that? I was supposed to create the rule on loan object, right? Workflow, new loan object. New loan. When a new loan is created with the loan when loan city equals, whenever a loan is created with the city equal Hyderabad, then update a field update. Which fields you can update? customer update. I can update my fields or my master record fields. Update the customer. Rule is running on loan, but I am updating the fields of customer. Number of loans plus done. Activate. Go to the loan. What is the current customer value? Number of loans equal to 6. Then go to the loan and check it out. Customer number of loans equal to not updated. Why it is not updated? Tell me. City I have given condition, right? Now again loan, new loan, city equal to Hyderabad 006. Then go to the customer. You are able to see number of loans equal to 1. So whenever the condition is met, we can modify the value of a record. Whenever the condition is met, we can modify the value of a record. Which values? My record values or my master record values. I can modify my record values or my master record values. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? Okay. Here I have few rules here, boss. I hope people have followed this. Everyone is good with this example? Now, listen carefully. Listen carefully. Now, I have multiple rules defined on the same object. Which action is going to be performed first? Look at the point. I am giving setup, okay, setup, build, create, workflows and approvals. Then I'm giving field update,
Satish, your screen is not matching.
right. Okay.
It is forward always.
Okay. Okay.
It,
Now, what was that? Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals. Then we have field update. Setup, build, create, workflows and approvals. We got here field updates. Now I am creating first update. Which object I am choosing here? Client. Now, which field you are trying to update? So, I am going to give this is the action. So, look at the point here. I created field update action 1. What is the field update? First field update, first action. What is the action? First at the rate of created. Let us say I created 9:36 on 27/02/2000. This is the action what I created. It is not the email. It is not the workflow. It is a field update action. I created this action at 9:35 a.m. 27th February 2019. What is the action? It will update the field called email. Email field will be updated as first at the rate of gmail.com. And again, I am going with next one. setup, build, create, workflows. What is the action we got here? Field update. Go to the field update, new field update, second action, client. Both of them are trying to perform the same action. Again, which field they are updating? Right. So what is the second action I created? Field update. Second action. What are they trying to update? Email. Second at the rate of gmail.com. Create a date. Let's say 9/38/27. Action 1, action 2. There are two actions created. Now, if the first action runs, now what is the order of their execution? If first runs, it says email equal to first at the rate of gmail.com, then followed by second action. If the second action runs, it is modified as right. Then what is the order of execution? First executed followed by second executed. So output is second. Suppose second is executed first, then second at the rate of gmail.com, first at the rate of, what is the output? If I get the first, order of execution is what? Order of execution is, okay, second followed by first. Looking at the output, we can say whether it is 1 followed by 2 or 2 followed by 1. Okay. Now look at the point. Now I am going to create two workflow rules. I am going to create two workflow rules. Setup, build, create, workflow runs approvals, workflow. New workflow rule. What is the object? Next. First rule. Created. If city equals to, if city equal to Hyderabad, perform the action. What is the action? Choose existing action. Second action added. First rule, second action. First rule, second action. Action. Second. Created at 9:41. Workflow rule is created. What is the action that we got? Second action. I am going to create one more rule. Setup, build, create, workflows, workflow rules. Second rule. Second rule, created age greater than 30 action. Okay. Now try to understand the point. We have a points to understand. Action. Created 942. Okay. Now the point is, when I create a record which are meeting both the conditions, then what is the order of their execution? Two workflow rules defined on the same object. Two workflow rules defined on the same object. Which will run first? Now, if actions are, if the rules are going to run like workflow rule 1, workflow rule 2, then which is created first? This followed by this. If the order of execution is this followed by this, if order of execution is this followed by this, then what happened? Email will be kept as second at the rate of. Then this action is going to run. What is the action? First. Now it is going to modify email as. So if you are getting the email as first at the rate of gmail.com, then what is the order of execution? Okay, workflow based on the order of workflow created date. Whichever the workflow is created first, that will run, followed by second workflow. When there are multiple workflow rules, what is the order of execution? We are assuming that workflow 1 will run first, followed by 2, because workflow 1 is created at 9:41 a.m. Workflow 2 is created at 9:42. If this is the order, what is the output we have to get? First at the rate of gmail.com. If this is the order, workflow 1 created at 9:41, followed by workflow 2 created at 9:42, then output should be first at the rate of Gmail. Am I right or wrong? When the first workflow rule runs, email is modified as second at the rate of gmail.com. Then the workflow 2 will run, action is first, which will say email is first at the rate of gmail.com. If this is the output, then the actions are running as per the order of workflow rules. Go to the client. I guess we have got city also, right? Client. There are no fields here. Because as per my rule, I gave city. So I was supposed to show the city field. Okay, let me create now. New client. This is how we got it. Save it. When I saved it, what is the output we got here? First at the rate of Gmail. So what is the order of execution? Whichever the workflow rule is created first, that rule is going to, their action is going to run first, followed by second rule. Now when you have multiple workflow rules defined on the same object, actions are performed as per the workflow created date. As per the workflow created date. Are you getting my point? When there are multiple workflow rules, then actions are performed according to the order of workflow created date. That's how we got first at the rate of gmail.com. I hope you are good. I hope you are good with this. Now look at the rules. What is the second rule I gave? If age is greater than 30, update first. So second action completed, first action came. What is the second action I gave? What is the first rule I gave? If city equal to Hyderabad, second action. What is second action? Email is kept as second at the rate of gmail.com. When there are multiple workflow rules defined, if all the rules are true, then actions are performed as per the order of workflow created date. As per the workflow created date and time. Are you clear about this? Are you clear about this? There are multiple workflow rules defined. Then when all the rules are true, actions are performed as per the order of workflow created date. Now look at this example. This is created first. That is the reason this is created first. This is created next. Both the rules are success. Then action, action. Which action is added first? This action. So what is the email? Email equal to second at the rate of Gmail. Followed by first. When you say followed by first, what is the first action? Email equal to. So if you are getting output as first at the rate of gmail.com, then second action is performed first, followed by first action. Is that was clear? Okay. I hope everyone has followed this point. Right. When there are multiple rules defined on the same object, now practically it is not one rule we define, there are a group of rules, 30 or 40 rules we define. Then which will run first? Which will run first? We have to identify. That is identified as per the order of workflow created date and time. Is that was clear? Am I clear with this? Clear? Okay. Then I hope the first point is clear for everyone. Second one, these are all the issues what we faced while we are working with multiple number of rules. You don't get these things on documents. In the Salesforce documents, you don't get these points. Okay. So this is out of the use cases what we implemented, we are giving the conclusions. Next one again, one more rule I have. Workflow. First rule. Object. Load. What is the rule we are giving? Evaluation. Whenever a record is created. On the loan object, whenever the record is created, on the loan object, whenever the new record is created, what is the field update? City equal to loan type equal to education, field update, city equal to Hyderabad. Try to understand this. One more workflow rule I created. Second rule, when city equal to Hyderabad or city equal to Bangalore, rule. Now there are 3 workflow rules. Which workflow rule is going to run first is the question mark. Just now we are told which action will run first. I have discussed about which action will be performed first. Right. Now I have created a record. Education, Bangalore. New record is created. Now tell me how this execution happens. Right. Now look at the point. Actions are performed as per the order of workflow created. But how the rules are verified? If this rule is verified first, type equal education, yes, city equal to Hyderabad, then this rule will fail. If this rule is executed first, city equal to Bangalore, type equal to housing, this rule will fail. So, what is the order of checking the rule? Actions are performed as per the as per the order of workflow created date. But how the rules are verified? Look at the point. Rules are verified like this. Now, it is not like rule action. It is like all rules once, all actions once. It is not like rule 1, true, action 1. Rule 2, true, action 2. Rule 3, action 3. It is not like rule 1, action, rule 2, action, rule 3, action. It is like all the rules once, all the actions once. So look at the point. First they are going to check. Workflow 1. Type equal education. Workflow 2. Type equal to Bangalore. Workflow 3. Type equal to Chennai. So what happened? All the rules are verified first. Their actions are not performed. First check all the rules. On the same record, check all the rules. After checking all the rules, whichever the rules are true, get their actions. Action 1, create on 10 Jan. Action 2, create on 15th. Right. So check all the rules first. After checking all the rules, whichever the rules are true, get their actions until when these are created. Now run these actions as per the order of created date. So what is the output? First action 1 will run. Education. Hyderabad. Then on this, action 2 will run. What is action 2? Education is modified to housing. Hyderabad. So what is the final output we are getting? Housing. I hope you are good with this. Now both the actions will run. No, it is not only one action. Both the actions will run. First action 1 will run, followed by action 2. Action 1 is modifying the city as Hyderabad. Action 2 is modifying the type as housing. So finally output is housing, Hyderabad, 10,000. When you have multiple workflow rules defined on the same object, it is going to check all the rules first. Now after checking all the rules, whichever the rules are true, collect their actions, put them in a group. Run those actions as per the order of workflow created date. Am I clear? Am I clear? It is not rule 1 action, rule 2 action. It is like rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. Verify all the rules at a time. Whichever the rules are true, collect their actions, put them in a group. In that group, whichever the action was created first, that will run, followed by next. So all the rules are verified first, followed by action. If it is like a rule and action, what happened? Check the first rule, type equal to education, yes. Then action is what? City equal to Hyderabad. If it is like a rule and action, city is modified as Hyderabad. Then when I check the second rule, city equal to Bangalore, rule is false. So it is not like rule, action, it is like check all the rules on the data first. Whichever the rule is true, perform their action next as per the order of workflow created date. Am I clear with this? Am I clear? Am I clear? Am I clear with this? Right. Boss, you don't get these points on the documentation. Any query, let me know. Is that was clear? Right. Next one. The next point, which is one of the feature in the workflow rules. I hope you are good with this. Everyone is good with this? Okay. Listen to the point carefully. Next point. This is already given on the Salesforce. There is an option here. What is the option? Re-evaluate workflow rule after. There is an option given. What is the purpose of this option? Listen carefully, everyone. Workflow rule. City equal to Hyderabad. Action. Field update. Amount equal to. I have one more workflow rule. Amount is greater than 40,000. Try to get the point. So there are two workflow rules. These checkboxes are not selected. Re-evaluate checkboxes are not selected. I created a record. This is the record I created. When I created it, both the rules will be fired. What is the rule number 1? City equal to Hyderabad. Rule number 2. Amount is greater than 40,000. Verified both the rules. Workflow 1 is true, workflow 2 is false. Then perform the action. What is the action we need to perform? Modify. This is the steps. Am I right? Now, if I check the second rule again, it will be true now. I already checked the rule, it is false. But if you allow me to check the rule again, it will be true. Am I right or no? Second rule, already I checked, amount greater than 40,000, condition is false. But workflow rule 1 is true, it has modified the data. Right. Now, after modifying the data by workflow number 1, if I again check the rule, it will be true. But can I check the rule again or not? Already you checked the rule, it failed. Now, I made some modification on the record. Now, can I check the rule again or not? Is the question mark. Then, that's what they give. Re-evaluate workflow rule. If this option is enabled, whenever there is any change happening on the record because of my workflow rule, whenever any change is happening on the record because of my workflow rule, recheck remaining rules which are failed. Recheck remaining rules which are failed. Because of my workflow rule, if there is any modification on the data, because of my workflow rule, if there is any modification on the data, recheck remaining rules which are failed. Recheck remaining rules which are failed. Now, the remaining rules which are failed will be rechecked. If you recheck, what happens here? If you recheck, it will be true. Right. Now, look at this. Now, if I don't check it, this is the end of the story. Suppose, if I checked it, then what happened here? Once again, then action will be performed. What is the action? Right. Suppose if I enable this option again, also, what was that? Because of my rule, if there is any update on the record, recheck the remaining rules which are failed. When I enable it, then what happened? Workflow number 2 modified the record. But there are no rules which are failed. One rule will be successful only once. If it is successful, it will not execute again. Right? What is the condition of re-evaluate? Boss, because of my rule, if there is any modification on the data, recheck the remaining rules which are failed in the previous case. Are you getting my point? Okay. The same story I will give it one more time. Try to understand this point. Workflow 1. Rule amount greater than 5,000. Action amount plus 5,000. Now I got this. Workflow 1. Now, first case, I am assuming that re-evaluate workflow rule. 3 check boxes are not enabled. All of them are disabled. Re-evaluate workflow rule. Re-evaluate workflow rule. All the 3 check boxes are disabled. Then what is the order of execution? Let us see. If all of them are disabled, Wipro 6,000. Then what I am going to do? When I create a record, 3 rules are going to be verified. 1, 2, 3. Out of this, which is true? 1 true. Right. Then this is true. What is the action we have? Wipro. And it is the end of the game. Why? Because any modification happening because of the rule number 1. Do you want to recheck? Any action that is happening because of the rule number 1. Any action that is happening because of the rule number 1. Okay. Do you want to recheck the rules? Not required. Because I have not selected any one of these check boxes. Same story. They told. What does it mean? Because of the rule number 1, if there is any modification, I ask you to check remaining rules which are failed. Create a rule number 1, 1 is true, 2 and 3 are false, then 1 is performed. Now what happened? Because of the rule number 1, if any change is happening on the data, recheck remaining rules which are, again I am checking workflow number 2. Now, because of the rule number 2, record is modified. Should I recheck? What is it? Did I enable this checkbox? But for the workflow 1, you enabled. Workflow 2, not enabled. So because of my rule, if any modification happened on the record, should I perform the action? Again, not required. Suppose I have given this. Now they told, workflow number 2 also told, because of my field update, any modification happen on the record, recheck the remaining rules. In that case, what will happen? Workflow 1, true, 2 and 3 are false. Then, because of the workflow 1, any change happened, recheck the remaining rules which are failed, cross-checked. Then workflow 2 pass. Then, because of the workflow number 2, if there is any modification happening on the data, recheck the records which are failure. What is the rule which is failure? 3. Only 3 is failure. Then perform the action. Right. If I check this action again, no use. Because there are no failed rules. Are you getting my point? Because of my rule, if any updates happen on the record, should I check the rules again or not? Because of my rule, if any modification happen on the data, should I check the rules again or not? Is the question. That is identified by re-evaluate workflow rule on field update. At the time of creating, this is at the time of what? At the time of creating a field update action, you have an option. What is that? Re-evaluate workflow rule after field changes. Whenever the value of the field is modified, should I recheck the remaining rules which are failed in the previous case? If that is enabled, yes. Disabled, no. I hope you are good. So these are some of the scenarios which may encounter on the workflow rules. One is order of execution. If multiple rules are there, how they are going to run? Then if I enable the re-evaluate, how the actions will flow. This is what somebody has asked me yesterday online. This was your question, right? Order of execution prioritizing the execution.
Yes. Yeah. This was the question yesterday I was expecting. Like.
Right. Next one. Let us go to the next one. So what we have seen? Task, email alert, field update. Task, email alert, field update. Okay. Last one is outbound message. Last action is what? Outbound message. What is this outbound message? So I will not be able to show the live execution, but I will explain it critically. This is a SAP system. This is some SAP application. Here, they wrote some web service program. They gave one link to you. Let us see. There's some link they create. Now this web service link is for what? This web service link is what? Now to this link, if you send the data, they'll create the customer here. They wrote a web service program there. What is that web service program? If you make a request to this link, right, with some data, okay, whatever the data you have sent, with that data they are going to create one customer here. So the SAP people have made one web service. They told, boss, if you send a data to that link, okay, whatever the data you have sent, with that data I am going to create a record. Now what was the requirement here? Now I have Salesforce here. My requirement is on employee table. My requirement is whenever a new employee is created, whenever a new employee is created, I want to send this data to the external system. I want this data to be sent directly to this system. Now what is that? Is it a part of the Salesforce? So it is what? Outbound message. It is outbound message. When a record is created, whenever the record is created in the Salesforce, send the data in the record to Excel system. You may send entire data or couple of fields, your choice. Whenever the record is modified, send the data. How can you send? These people are going to give you this URL. With the help of this URL, you are supposed to create outbound message. Now when you send the data to this URL, then the SAP, what they will do? Whatever the data you have sent, they will take the data, create a record. Whatever the data you are sending, they take the data, modify the data. Are you getting my point? So what was this outbound message? But to do this outbound message, who will give the URL? To whichever the system we are sending, they are going to give the URL. How do they generate the URL? Web service. They have to write a web service program there, and they will generate one URL. With the URL, we are going to copy paste. Okay, that's what. Let me show you it now. I hope you got idea now. Right. Now, look at this. Outbound message. Workflow. New outbound message. Some name you can give. Now, endpoint. Endpoint URL. Whatever the URL they are giving, you have to copy that URL. Now tell me which fields you want to send. Now, whenever the workflow rule is met, they are calling what? Outbound message. Whichever the fields you selected, this data will be sent to this URL. What is that URL? Some third-party system. The third-party system will take the data from the URL, do whatever they want. Are you getting? Whenever the rule is met, modify the record. Whenever the rule is met, send the data to that URL. What is that URL? Third-party system. Are you clear? So what we are going to do in the Salesforce? Whatever the URL they are going to give, copy paste that URL, select what is the data you want to send. So when the workflow rule is true to that URL, this data will be sent. So when you send, what they do with the data is their choice. That is a third party application. Are you clear? This is called outbound message. Now I have to make it live, I have to make other system live. The third party system is live, then I can make it and show you. Is that was clear for you? Right? Is that clear for you? Am I clear? Now what we are saying, boss, whenever the rule is met, send the data of this record to the third party system, which you are calling outbound message. Live data, live integration. So whenever the change happens here, send the data directly. Whenever you create a record, send the data directly. This is outbound message. Now let us draw basic conclusions about what we have done in the last two classes. Come back now. Let us see one by one. Workflow rules are defined on which object? Somebody is asking. Which object? Standard or custom? Now, what is this workflow rule? It is a automated operation. It is an automated operation. When this automated operation will run? Whenever the evaluation criteria is true, check the rule. When the rule is true, perform the action. When will I check the rule? When I will check the rule? When the evaluation criteria is. What is that evaluation criteria? We have three choices, right? I have evaluation criteria. I have evaluation criteria. When the evaluation criteria is true, then what are the options we have? I have to choose any one. Created. Second one also created and created anytime. So in all the three cases, when a new record is created, workflow rule will find. Only thing is, on existing records, if you make modification, should I run or not, is only the difference. In all the three cases, whenever a new record is created, workflow rule will run. So when the evaluation criteria is true, check the rule. Workflow rule. Check the workflow rule. When the workflow rule is true, perform the action. Now, what type of actions we have here? Two types of action. Still we are doing with only one category of action. There are two types of actions what we have. One is immediate, other one is time dependent. We have not done the time dependent, only immediate we have done. Now, in how many ways we can define the workflow rule? Criteria based. When you say criteria based, fields of the object, it's a master object, and currently how many conditions we can give? 25 conditions. Immediate, time dependent. When you say action, task, can be assigned to user, owner, Right. On which object? Hello. This is by default enabled on standard objects. On custom objects, we have choice. On the custom object, we have option to enable or disable. On the standard object, by default, it is enabled. Owner can be a user. Owner can be if owner is a queue, user who will share the object. Role, one user, multiple user. Multiple users, owner of the. This is for task. Outbound message, simply it's a URL. We have nothing to do discuss. Email template, create a template, select. Now if it is a field update, which fields? Fields of the record, master record fields. Fields of the record, master record fields, we can also update record type. We can also update record type. We can also update record type. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? Right? Any query from your end? This is what we have seen. Yes. Email to case is a different story. That you are not creating a record. See, the point here is how you are getting created is not a question. Now you wrote a workflow rule on the case. Okay, you gave a condition. If it is met, that action will be performed. Now, how are you creating the case? Maybe from email, from directly maybe entering or through web service. I am not interested on how it is getting created. If it is created, it will check the rule. If any workflow rule is there, it will check the rule. If any action is defined, it will perform it. See, after the email is created, case number will get it. No. Now I told after record is created. After the record is created means what? Record is saved. Record is saved means what happened? If any case number is there, they'll assign it. No. Not every field you don't assign. There are auto numbers. What is the purpose of auto number? System will create. What is the purpose of formula fields? System will create. What is the purpose of roll-up summary? System will create. Whatever the data you are supposed to enter, you enter it. Whatever the values the system has to calculate, the system will create and set it. Okay, Nama? Any other queries from anyone else? So that's all from my end. We'll continue tomorrow. And your hard copies are not given. Tomorrow I'll be giving whatever it is. Okay. For right now, you can access the material.